Good evening, one and all. Welcome into a Morgan Podcasting Network live presentation here on Facebook. You may be hearing this as an audio podcast later. However, you're viewing us in your ears or with your eyes. We appreciate you checking in on YouTube or perhaps Spotify or Apple. Make sure you give us a like, a comment, a follow every once in a while. We would really appreciate that. That might get a few more people to hear this podcast that we call Balls and Brew when we talk about sports. And we call it Yeah, We Know when we talk about wrestling. We're going to do all of those things with a little fast break thrown in between. Helping me do all of it is my normal cast of characters here, the executive producer of this podcast, the man making this live broadcast happen. He is James Thomas Jamariska. Jimmy Jam, hello.
I'm excited to have the crew back together. You know, the pigskin comes out, and so does Williams. I love it.
That is correct. Our football handicapper is with us. But before we get to him, our guy, he slept through a couple of wrestling shows, but he swears he's back on his game. It's the old man. It's Chris King. Chris, hello.
What is up? And again, it's April, and we're talking football. NFL rules the world, doesn't it?
It certainly does. They made a breaking announcement during the draft to tell us that they were then going to give us the schedule on another predetermined date. Just incredible stuff out of the NFL. Helping us break down anything national football related is, of course, our handicapper. He was once known as the anonymous gambler on this podcast. He has then since come on and given picks for years and made people money. He is our guy, Josh Williams. Josh, hello.
Yeah, what's up, boys? Right off the bat, we hit on me and Stella, my cat. If you remember, we hit on plus 850 for the Chargers to take a running back with their first pick. Hit on two other leans with Jackson Dart being the second quarterback taken, and the under on total quarterbacks drafted in the first round, under 2.5. We missed on the Saints taking Tyler Warren at 9-1. I did hedge,
and we are incredibly, hold on a second, and we are incredibly happy that you missed that one, my friend. That one was one we did not want to see pay off on this particular podcast.
Once, I did hedge, though, once it was clear to me that the Saints were either going to take Warren or an offensive lineman at 9. So I was able to grab Banks to the Saints at 9-1 on MGM. I did miss on New Orleans, the long shot, taking Jalen Milroe in the second, which I wasn't really too far off there because they ended up, instead of going with the uber athletic Milroe, the Saints decided to go with a soon-to-be 26-year-old pocket passer who's coming off a significant injury in Tyler Shuck. So go figure, Saints. I mean, yeah.
But listen, I wonder how much credit or how amount of shock you still had. I mean, I don't want to spend forever talking about Shedeur Sanders because certainly it's been talked to death, but we should at least mention it here because we did talk about it the last time you joined us. Did you see it falling that far? Because I think you basically told people, hey, look out for him to not be a first-round quarterback, but I'm not so sure you felt like he was going to go in the 5th round.
Yeah, I don't think anybody saw that coming, but it really wasn't that 32 teams passed on him. It was really like 5 or 6 teams. You know, the Browns were in it, the Steelers, the Raiders, the Giants. And the Giants were super desperate. Like, they were the team that had the most meetings with Shedeur. They wanted to take Shedeur, and he just completely crapped all over himself in every single meeting. He took a FaceTime call during the meeting, during the interview. And, there's scouts that said, the worst formal interview I've ever seen in my life, entitled, never plays on time, horrible body language, blames teammates, backwards hat, just not that good. So, yeah, it's not surprising that he fell. Probably a little surprising he did fall all the way to the 5th round.
All right, Chris, I think I have a feeling which way you're going to lean on this, but we're going to come to you in a second. Jimmy Jam, I want to ask it to you in this way. If you're the Cleveland Browns, and now at this point you have Shedeur Sanders on your team, and you have to bring him in, like, do you address the fact that, like, hey, no, we really did want you, but we passed on you, 6 different times before we finally decided to take you, or do you just like, no, everything's fine? No, don't even worry about this other guy at the same position you play that we drafted before we drafted you. Don't worry about any of that. We want you to come here and play. Like, how do you think all that's going to work out?
You do the exact same thing you do with every other quarterback you take in the later rounds. Hey, here's your opportunity. Come in and do it. Oh, yeah, all these cameras you have with you, get them out of there. You're not that important anymore. He just messed up. He read the room wrong. He believed his own hype which is weird because he was doing the hype. So he just needs to go in and work and play as hard as he can and see what happens. But yeah, they're going to just say, come in, you've got a shot. And if you say one thing out of line, you're gone because we don't care. You don't cost us anything.
All right, old man, I'm going to come to you this way. I think I'm going to set it up on a tee for you here. All right. Is this an instance of this kid got exactly what he deserved? He needed to come in here and be respectful. Or is this an instance of, these are some old fuddy-duddies in the NFL who don't understand the way that kids this generation and other generations that come in behind Shedeur Sanders handle themselves. And what's the big deal here anyway? He shouldn't have to grovel on the knees for the opportunity to play football. Which way do you come down, Chris?
Listen, you always want your quarterback, the leader of your team, to be confident, borderline cocky. You don't want them to be quite this crazy in these interviews, especially the formal ones, right? I don't know if this is so much him getting what he deserves. I definitely don't think he's as bad as what anybody says he is. The sacks don't bother me that much. Even if you take away half his sacks and he throws those passes away, he still completes over 71% of his passes. That's still pretty damn good. All right. I think more so this is Cleveland getting what it deserves. All right. Somehow they're going to have another controversial quarterback in that room. He's not even going to be the most hated quarterback in that room. So that's a plus for him. He has an opportunity. All right. If he performs, he gets the position. That's what's going to happen in Cleveland.
There we go. I don't know. I thought maybe you'd break a little harder there. I thought maybe you'd go against Coach Prime because you're not really a huge fan of the way Deion comports themselves. But you were pretty measured there, Chris. I got to say, maybe your old years are finally getting some wisdom on you.
This is more about how awful Cleveland has been as a franchise than it's anything about the kid they happen to draft.
Well, listen, we'll have plenty more time to talk about Shedeur Sanders. Jimmy, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was going to say, at least they didn't trade back up in the first round to get him. You're thinking Manziel, you're thinking Whedon, you're thinking Brady Quinn. All these, people were falling. They went up and got him, or, they picked him with the second pick in the round. So at least they waited until the very end when the owner said, go pick the guy.
Didn't they trade up in that round to get him when they did, though? Didn't they just trade for that pick?
But it's a sixth round, so who cares?
Yeah, I mean, we're just, when they're throwing picks around like that, it's hard to even follow at that point. Even a guy like Williams that's steeped in this stuff probably had trouble following right there. Listen, we'll have plenty of time to talk about Shedeur. He'll be making news in the preseason. The Browns have a QB room of Kenny Pickett, Joe Flacco, what's the Gabriel kid's first name? Doesn't matter. And Shedeur Sanders. And then Deshaun Watson's probably going to be on IR because the Browns stand to make more money from insurance if he's on IR than if they cut him. So, you know what I mean? Like, that's probably just where we're headed with that. So
they also got the hottest selling jersey in the NFL right now, too.
No, let's see. There you go. They're going to make money somehow. Things always come out brown. How about that? Things do always come out brown. My goodness, that's the transition that I just made right there.
That's going to get a lot of views on TikTok. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. All right, Williams, let's not talk about a team like the Browns that Chris just absolutely slammed and we're not entirely sure has a great chance next year. Let's talk about some teams that you thought helped themselves out with the draft.
Yeah, surprisingly, I think Carolina had a great draft. They took the red zone threat McMillan, wide receiver from Arizona at 8. I think if they don't take him, I think that was a big option for the Cowboys to take it possibly at 12. They get some weapons for Bryce Young, and Carolina needed a red zone threat extremely bad. And they got a super underrated edge rusher, Nick Scrouton, in the second round. He tore it up for Purdue a couple years ago. Gained some weight when he transferred to Texas A&M. Didn't have as good a year, but that dude can play also. Yeah, I just think Carolina, with the value that they have, they had a really good draft. Arizona had an awesome draft too. Walter Nolan fell to them. Will Johnson fell to them. Those were their top 2 defensive guys on their draft board. They got those guys. We said this last year. If Arizona keeps stacking these good draft classes, sooner or later we're going to be coming in and saying, hey, you know who's a good team? Arizona. And I think that's going to happen next year. So they had a great draft. The Patriots, I know you don't want to hear it, Rod. I know nobody wants to hear it. The Patriots had an outstanding draft. Vrabel is going to have that team back to winning ways sooner rather than later. They got a lot of weapons for Drake May, and they stole Javarion Henderson from the Bears, one pick ahead in the second round. I believe the Bears were going to take him. So, yeah, they got a good offensive tackle too to protect Drake May.
All right, we will get to our favorite teams here. Report from you in just a second, but Patriots triggered something in me. I got to go to the resident Belichickologist on this podcast, Chris, my guy. Have you seen the clips? Do you care to weigh in on what might be the current situation for your favorite 72-year-old ex-NFL coach?
There's a senile old man in North Carolina, right? I don't think it's the same guy. I don't think he cares. I really feel kind of bad for the university, but like this is the bed they made, all right? This is what happens when you get into cahoots with somebody like old man Bill. You're gonna have just his how old is she, Rod? It doesn't matter.
24, I believe.
It doesn't matter, right? Like before, you couldn't have like your cell phones in practice or anything like that. Like it was almost like a militant type camp up in New England, and now it's just a party apparently at the University of North Carolina.
Jimmy Jam, did you ever think you would live in a world where you would see a picture of Bill Belichick dressed as a fisherman reeling in a mermaid who is Jordan, I can't think of her last name at this point, dressed in a mermaid costume on the beach? Did you ever think in your day that you would see that?
No, I didn't. And you know what? It's fine. Let the man have some fun. Why not?
Mr. Williams, was Jordan with Belichick during the interview at UNC? Did she sign a document to be some sort of part of the coaching staff? I know you follow a little bit of college football. I'm going to come to you on this because I think it's the only way that you would want to weigh in on this. Do you believe that she has some sort of official job there at UNC? Because apparently she's calling some shots.
She was. They did not like that question of how you met. That's
so weird.
I don't really care how they met.
I don't either, but I care now.
I didn't think the interview was that weird until the guy said, well, actually you got fired. And Bill just had that blank stare on his face like, no, it was mutual. And then it started getting real weird. I don't know, man. She's definitely got some type of hold on him.
Oh my goodness, man. I just never thought the guy that we saw for years of his life revel in not answering questions now needs a 24-year-old to come jumping in from the side to say what he will and won't do. I'm absolutely floored by that aspect of it. We'll see how things go for UNC. Let's get back to the draft and let's get back to important business. I can't believe I've waited 13 minutes to gloat. I had one want and one want only for the NFL draft. It was for my Colts to get a tight end, because I love me some Dax Storm. I do. Dax, I love you, buddy. And I love that Kyle Granson was your neighbor at one point, but that dude was not an NFL tight end. Between him and the other guys the Colts were trucking out a tight end last year, they had under 40 catches. That's not going to work when you have a guy like Anthony Richardson, who I love. I'm still on the AR train, but not the greatest quarterback in the world. You know one of the easiest things to do? Dump the ball off to a guy who's big. And they got Tyler Warren. Williams, I'm pumped. What else should I be excited about the Colts draft?
Yeah, they got a super underrated second-round pick, the defensive player that they got. It was huge value there. Love
that kid's tape. Love that kid's tape. He's a grinder.
The Tyler Warren. I thought once the Bears pass on Warren, which is a different scheme fit, I thought the Cowboys could have taken Tyler Warren. Actually, if the Cowboys take Tyler Warren, they instead took a different Tyler. But if the Cowboys take Tyler Warren there, I might have said the Cowboys had the best draft, because not that I'm down on Booker as a first-round pick for the Cowboys, but that was a bit of a reach. But the rest of the Cowboys picks were, I thought, really, really good. But I thought they could have taken Warren, but instead the tight end falls to the Colts. Thank God. We've been joking on this podcast that the Colts have 17 different tight ends, and finally Tyler Warren. And I think Steichen is going to be able to use him pretty differently, get him out in different formations. Hopefully A-Rich or Danny Dimes or your boy Riley Leonard can get him the ball, Rod, because I know you love some Riley Leonard.
Riley Leonard is absolutely not my boy, but they say he's a great guy, so he's going to be wonderful in the room, right? That's another thing we hear people saying all the time now. In the room, that's a great quarterback room. You just got to get him in the room. Whatever. What the hell? What kind of powers does this room have? Jimmy, let me ask you this question about guards as a man who played offensive lineman at one point in his football career. When I hear them talk about a tackle and they say, if he doesn't work out, they'll just kick him into guard. That to me devalues why you should draft a guard at any point early on in the draft. Am I wrong to think that way?
It is weird. I don't think you're wrong, but also you just want to get someone who's going to start for you and be a Pro Bowler. Really, that's what you want. So if you draft him at 10 and he's a Pro Bowl guard for the next 15 years, you win. You know what I mean? It just get the best player and figure it out later.
All right, Chris, let's go to you on your Cowboys then, and then we'll finish out with Jimmy and Williams' Bears to talk about the tight end that I'm so glad they took so I could get Tyler Warren. But what about the rest of your Cowboys, Chris?
Listen, I only was happy with Booker if Tyler Warren was not available. I thought there was no chance that Warren was going to be available at 12 where the Cowboys drafted. I thought for sure once the Bears took the other kid from Michigan instead, I thought for sure the Cowboys are smart enough to take a playmaker like Warren because we need one. Dallas has always had a great tight end, and we need one now. And no. So they took
Jay
Booker.
Ferguson slander will not stand, all right? Every single one of us has played Jay Ferguson on a whim for fantasy football, and he got us like 6 points. Come on, this Jay Ferguson slander will not stand.
He's not a great tight end, all right? But you're not. It's not wrong. The rest of the draft I thought was great. We did get a playmaker for Dak. We got him a little bit late, but it was that Blue. What's his first? Jalen Blue.
Yeah,
he's a home run hitter.
Are you kidding me? Did you see the measurables on that kid? His tape? I mean, what he did at the combine? That kid, I'm telling you, he was moving up a lot of people's boards.
Right. So I think you got somebody that can like make plays. I was happy with the draft.
Hey.
No big splashes. Smart draft.
You like it when
Hey,
Jerry
Rod, I have a
ball.
question for you, Rod. No,
Okay.
I have a question for you, Rod. Have you been listening to a lot of draft commentators recently, and are they saying all the same things?
Oh, listen, I understand that these guys know football on a level that I don't. I understand that they really are actually watching tape and they sort of have ideas of what to look for because at one point in their life they were scouting for colleges or pro teams, right? So I get it. I'm not trying to attack the job. I could not do it, but I just don't like that we're now living in a world where there's no such thing as a bad pick or a guy that probably isn't going to play or a guy that's not really going to matter, right? Every single guy's love that tape. Love that tape. I mean, I'm telling you, this guy, the measurables off the charts, right? What did he do? Like 4.5, 4.6, 40? I mean, like every single guy that they talk about is an impact guy. Like a guy maybe that's not going to be an all-star, but he's a guy that's going to come in, he's going to learn your program, and he's going to contribute from day one. I mean, you put him in on a couple of special teams, maybe some nickel packages, maybe you figure out a way to get him around the edge, use his athleticism. I mean, every single guy, Jimmy Jam. Oh, thank you for allowing me that opportunity.
Yeah, I've got.
It is amazing how no one's like, yeah, he's not going to make the team. You know?
Man, the Cowboys stole 2 defensive picks from the Bears of who I wanted. Devin Ezeruke, defensive end, and they got this other guy, the corner, Ravel. If he didn't tear his ACL last September, he would have been a first-round pick. He's a big physical press man corner. They waited to grab a running back, which we hoped that they were going to, which was smart, given where they were drafting and the fact that Genty was already off the board. Yeah, they got that Jaden Blue. You know, he's definitely a fun running back to watch. He scored 14 touchdowns last year on only 176 touches. So, that's a
Production.
That's pretty good. He is a little bit undersized and he had some fumbling problems, but he's a fun guy to watch. So, like I said, like the Cowboys had a pretty good draft.
Did they get his arm length? Did anybody make sure to get his arm length? Were his arms too short or his hands too small? What was his reach? Did anybody check on that?
That's why I fell to the 5th round.
Jimmy, we're in regular season form already. You, me, and Chris were having a bit of a discussion about something, and Williams just completely oblivious to it. Just stays right on script and goes into the Bears breakdown.
I just love I love it. It doesn't matter. He has his notes. He has his, and he goes.
God bless him for still coming on this podcast, but he has zero time for me.
You were done. I gave you time.
Oh,
You had your time, Rod.
Yeah.
You had
Yeah, I
your
did.
time.
Enough of your nonsense, Rod. Nobody wants to hear you pawning on about some garbage. All right? No one wants to hear it, Rod. Stop.
I got Ed
I'm-
Hockley stacks to get to.
Yeah, exactly. I got to get my ref breakdown. I got to read up on all the refs before I start breaking down tape for this year. Williams, you mentioned Genty there. You said that you liked him in the pre-draft. Is there anybody else that ended up going early in the draft that we're really going to see make a big impact next year?
Yeah, I think Genty is the big guy. But I mean, we all wanted. I wanted Genty to go to the Bears selfishly, but if he didn't go to the Bears, I wanted him to go to the Broncos. He ends up going to the Raiders, which is kind of a disappointment. I know Pete Carroll loves to run the ball, but the Raiders don't really have a good offensive line. McMillan, I think
the Raiders don't really have a good anything, right? The Raiders really, the only good thing they have going for them right now is a stadium, right? It hosts a hell of a WWE event, doesn't it, Jimmy?
It yes.
We said that we thought the Raiders thought that they were closer than the general public thought, and like by this draft, they took a running back at 6, they took a wide receiver at 40. It's like, are you guys really that good to be taking those type of positions?
Well, what else do you want them to do? We were busting on Belichick earlier in this podcast, and Pete Carroll's older than Belichick, isn't he? I mean, we don't got all day. Like, let's go. Pete's got the early bird special to get to. You know what I mean?
That's a team that should be bottoming out. I feel like they're going to go from 4 wins to like 7, and it's like that's just not a way I would want to run my football team. But we'll see, man. Genty's so good that he might just run all over anybody. It doesn't even matter what the offensive line is. But I think McMillan helps out Bryce Young in the red zone. I think Omarion Hampton going to the Chargers. Jim Harbaugh wanted him bad. We thought the Broncos were going to take him. The Broncos ended up going with the nickel corner to solidify their defensive backfield. And 2 picks later, the Chargers take Hampton, the running back from North Carolina. This dude is awesome. A lot of people had him as the second best running back behind Genty. And he's going to get a lot of play because I think he's going to earn this week 1 starting spot over Najee Harris. Or if he doesn't, it'll soon be his role. So we know the Chargers love to run the ball. We know the Chargers are probably going to be in positive game script. So that's a name to keep.
We know the Chargers love milk, right? Isn't that a big Jim Harbaugh thing? Drink milk, right? Isn't that one of his deals?
Uh-huh.
We know the Chargers are going to Charger.
Yeah, well, that's another one, Chris. That's definitely one of your core tenets on the podcast. I'm sure that will come up as we get into regular season games as we move on. Jimmy Jam, I said that all these draft guys don't want to bash teams. I'm not afraid to bash teams, all right? And I'm going to throw it to you. Organizationally, what in the world are the Atlanta Falcons doing? Williams just mentioned it here. The Raiders aren't close, and they made some moves, and he's like, what are you guys doing there? The Falcons gave up a first-round pick next year, as if somehow they think they're just going to make it into the playoffs this year to draft, another edge rusher after they already took one in the top 10. Jimmy, what are Atlanta Falcons fans supposed to think about that kind of a draft?
So Jalen Walker fell to them. I think they thought he was going to go. They were going to pick Pierce. I think they were going to pick him that high. They really liked him a lot. So in their mindset, training on 1 next year coming up is going to be basically the same thing. So worst case scenario in their minds is they're going to have the 16th or 17th pick next year. That's going to be worth it for James Pierce. The Rams, on the other hand, are more realistic. And if Penix gets hurt, even if Penix plays, it might be a top 8 pick.
Captain Kirk, baby. Captain Kirk still maybe on that team. Williams, come on. I know you had to be shaking your head at this move. What in the world were the Falcons doing here? Because we've not seen a checkered draft from these guys, right? We took Bijan Robinson high, and that hasn't helped the team out because they're not good enough around him. We see him take Kyle Pitts, who you sing his praises all the time, but we talk about how there's just nothing around him for him to be able to actually do anything. So here the Falcons are again, right?
Yeah, I think they're bad self-evaluators of what other teams think of their guys. Like they just like their guys, and they're like, we're going after them. We're gonna give away everything for them. The Rams absolutely fleeced the Falcons there, getting a 2026 first-round pick. So the Falcons can come up and take a top 5 pick? No. A top 10 pick? No. A top 25 pick? No. A 26th pick, and you give up a first-round pick from the Rams know that this year's draft wasn't that deep. So the Rams traded back, and they traded to get a first-round pick next year in a draft that is perceived to be a much healthier draft. So the Rams
healthier for quarterbacks as well, right? When they're basically going year to year with Stafford. I mean, this could land them somebody like with Nussmeier. Isn't that the kid, right? That might not necessarily be the top guy, but could be around for a pick that's, in the top 10-ish.
Yeah, Nussmeier, Arch Manning. Keep an eye out for Lenore Sellers if he classifies early. Quarterback from South Carolina. He's a Lamar Jackson light there. But yeah, I mean the Rams are analytically savvy, and the Falcons just continue to be overconfident with their picks.
Jimmy Jim, you surprised me at the beginning of this and told me that you were grinding a bunch of draft watching. So who's somebody else you want to shout out about the draft? The process, any interview you saw? What do you got for us?
Here's my take on Genty. I don't think he's going to be that good his first year. I'm on the other side of that. So that means it's an NFL prediction. So you know what that means? Genty's going to go rookie of the year, Raiders winning the Super Bowl next year. Genty's, I watched him in a couple in that playoff game. I'm a little nervous. I know he did not have an offensive line. I get it. And the Raiders have the greatest offensive line in the NFL, so he'll be fine. I'm just a little worried about Genty and all the hype. Is he going to be able to live up to that? And I think the Bears might have gotten a little too cute in the second round. They had a nice offensive tackle waiting for him with that second pick, traded back. I probably would have taken that tackle over the other tackle, but those are my thoughts.
I love it. Chris, how about you? Any last little draft nuggets before we give Williams a chance to give anything else that he left on the notebook?
I did like the Bills guy's response about I ain't out here drafting for fantasy football teams. I did enjoy that quote.
Let's go, Brandon Bean. Bean. Just out here cutting podcast rants.
Can you get Josh Allen some help though? The guy who was asking the question wasn't wrong. That's why he got so pissed off, because I think he knew that guy was right. Can you get him some help?
No. We don't want any help for Josh Allen, all right? Williams, the AFC is already good enough as it is for my Colts, all right? We don't need anybody in the AFC getting any better, all right?
He really has proven
getting better.
He really has proven he doesn't need anybody else's help, too. Let's be honest. The dude has single-handedly carried the Bills.
And also Haley Steinfeld, come on. I mean, he's doing fine for himself.
I think those fans would disagree, Chris. I think they won a Super Bowl. Have you seen those fans jump off onto tables?
Love them for busting tables, though. Jimmy and I love that. Always on brand.
I have been around for a while, Josh, all right? I saw the 4 in a row.
Long time.
Okay? The Bills have had it worse than they have it now. They are okay.
Chris actually worked for a couple of games as the guy who would run out and grab Scott Norwood's tee, right? Remember back in the day when there used to be a dude who had to run out to grab the tee? That was actually how they had to go off the field. Chris was that guy in Buffalo for a while. He had this imperviousness to cold. It was amazing.
I had Bills Super Bowl championship T-shirts for 2 of those runs. I couldn't ever wear them out.
And you were nice enough to send those off to people who really needed them. How magnanimous of you. Williams, empty out that draft notebook on anything you got for us before me, Jimmy, and Chris talk a little NBA.
Yeah, I'm totally against Jimmy on Ashton Genty. My favorite Ashton Genty stat from last year.
Let's go. Jimmy and Williams fighting already. We are in midseason form.
Let's go.
Okay, the Notre Dame running backs were awesome last year. They had a total of 76 yards versus Penn State. Ashton Genty, with no offensive line, ran for over 100 yards versus Penn State. That is not the stat. He ran for 3.2 yards per carry. That is not the stat. Against Penn State, Ashton Genty ran for 5.2 yards per carry after contact. That means every single time Penn State saw him get the ball, he was getting contacted 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage, and he still ran for over 100 yards against Penn State. He's got awesome vision, awesome balance. He reminds me of LaDainian Tomlinson. He's going to be awesome. I just don't know about the Raiders' offensive line.
Okay, so we agree then.
We
agree then, Williams. I disagree with Jimmy. No, we agree. Genty could be fine. I'm worried about him with the Raiders. What's going on? So, you call me out, and then
he's gonna put up numbers though, because Pete Carroll's gonna give him the ball 27 times a game. So eventually he's gonna get his numbers.
My favorite stat of his was 2,600 yards rushing. Right. He also had over 1,700 yards rushing after contact. He had more yards after contact last year than the second leading rusher in the NCAA. It was an insane,
balance.
Right?
Unbelievable.
But balance. if you want to talk in the parlance of Rod earlier in his measurables are exactly like somebody that was a first-round bust, and that would be a Trent Richardson.
Thank you for acknowledging the work I put in grinding the tape. I appreciate being seen, Chris. Thank you.
He's got more explosion than Richardson, but yeah, I get it.
Chris, Jimmy, you know what I just heard there and all of that? Ashton Genty is going for like $55 in our auction draft when we do the fantasy football auction draft later this year. That's what I just heard right there.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
Williams, what else? You got anything else for us?
Yeah, we didn't really touch on the Bears. I think the public perception was down on the Bears.
Wait a minute. No, how dare you? How dare you? You steered us to the Bears yourself, and now you're going to come on here and say we didn't talk about the Bears?
And I talked about the Bears. Thanks for not listening and reading your script, Williams. Yeah. You know what? I've had it.
I don't think we talked about the Bears. I'm just going to go.
You're still mad at me for our dueling Cleveland Browns pick last year. I know you are. I know you are.
But the public perception was that Warren was clearly better than Loveland. And I'm not debating that he's probably going to be the overall better tight end, but Loveland is the better deep down the field target getter in the red zone. And
that's fine.
He's
the only thing my quarterback's good at is throwing the ball down the field. That's fine. You're making me feel great.
What Ben Johnson did with his first two picks, he got Colston Loveland, which is very much like Sam Laporta comp. He got Luther Burden, who is very much like a Jameson Williams comp. He is going to spread out the field. You're going to have all kinds of different options and weapons for Caleb. No team is going to be able to prep for this Chicago Bears team. Bears are coming for the NFC North title.
You just comped two guys who've never even made the Pro Bowl. Listen, I talked to you guys about this last year. I want you guys to want more for yourselves. You should want more out of your tight end and your wide receiver than Sam Laporta and Jameson Williams.
What? Laporta was awesome last year. Laporta was awesome.
Okay. You know Jameson who weren't Williams, awesome? The Colts tight ends. And now Tyler Warren is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
You better not be putting some sort of weird like mojo on Tyler Warren with this take you have about what's his name, Lovejoy? Reverend Lovejoy, like on The Simpsons? Is that his name?
Yes, it is. Now it is. They did call him Lovey.
From now until eternity.
Oh, Lovey, then I'm in on this guy. Lovey had a much better time in Chicago than you fans ever gave him credit for. How did it go the couple of post years of Lovey? Not real well. Maybe Lovey got thrown out of town too early.
You know what?
You think?
Tyler Warren would have been great.
Lovey also got you guys what? Who did Lovey get you?
He got us the number one pick, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Got us the number one pick. Got us Caleb Williams. Yes, he did. Thank you, Lovey Smith.
Lovey Smith, Chicago Bears hero. If you didn't take away anything else from what we talked about tonight during football, I want you to take away the point that I just made, that Lovey Smith is a Chicago hero. I think we got to end football on that. Mr. Williams, you are the absolute best. We will have you back here very, very shortly, and we will start grinding out preseason NFL stuff. I know you're excited. The fans could tell already that you're excited. You're in regular season form already.
The Ben Johnson era is almost upon us.
Let's go. Jimmy Jam, you want to run the fast break?
Jimmy might be frozen.
You never know. We may have lost Jim, though. This is true.
I think he's legit frozen.
Now he's out. Chris, it could be just you and I running the fast break. Oh, Jimmy's back.
I'm in.
We never doubt that.
I'm in. Welcome to the Fast Break, the fastest 15 minutes in the NBA. Chris, Rod, and I are here. We are ready, and I have some NBA playoff questions for you folks. Chris, I'm going to go to you first, if that is okay with you, if you're still awake.
Let's go. You're not living this
Shots fired. Shots fired.
Oh, I'm getting everyone mad at me with this first question. Hey, Chris, what is Rod's worst take? His hatred of baseball or saying Tyrese Halliburton is the most overrated player in the NBA?
Going right at it. I love you, Jimmy.
Right? I mean, they're both up there because,
no question. But we're a basketball show. Just remember that.
So I think it's got to be the fact that he thinks Tyrese Halliburton is the most overrated player in the NBA. I mean, because you're overlooking some greats out there, some guys that are known for being out there and somehow being an all-star and defensive player of the year with a triple single lifetime average, and like Draymond Green. Like, if you want to talk about overrated players,
wow. Ask Alfred and Shingun how overrated Draymond Green is.
Oh, he brought it back to Draymond. Listen, in my defense, I'm not the only one that called Tyrese Halliburton overrated. A bunch of NBA players called Tyrese Halliburton overrated to The Athletic, all right? In my defense, I called him a fake superstar.
Well, fake superstar that, Rod, because he took Giannis Antetokounmpo to the hole. How many times in a row there? Three times in a row? How about the Pacers, Rod? They are never out of the game. Do you know, I was listening to, I think it was the Hoop Collective, where it was literally like 1,600 times in a row, teams down by 8 or more with 40 seconds lost in the playoffs. Now it's 1 in 1,600 because the Pacers are that good.
Yes, sirs. Yes, sirs. A great playoff t-shirt by the Pacers. And the Pacers are a pretty darn good team, all right? They made the Eastern Conference Finals last year. They ended up being a 4 seed in an Eastern Conference, that had the Celtics and the Cavaliers who won a whole bunch of games, and the Knicks who were a pretty solid team, all right? What more do you really want out of the Pacers? And then they absolutely wasted the Bucks, possibly ended the Giannis Antetokounmpo era. John Halliburton, Tyrese's dad, almost caused a melee. I mean, what more do you want out of the Pacers? It's sheer entertainment every time they take the floor. And I got to give credit where credit's due, man. Tyrese absolutely took that game over in the OT, won that series at home, jumped up on the table, and he had every right to do it. He looked like the all-star that we were told he was at the beginning of last year, finally, in this playoff series.
Chris, how many times when Tyrese Halliburton shoots a three-pointer are you like, no, don't shoot that. And you're right, like, what, 30, 40% of the time?
I mean, as long as that's at 35%, that's what that percentage needs to be, 35% of the time. But like, listen, I much rather see him. I'm an old school guy. Let me see you drive, kick, get the old fashioned 3-point play, right? And that happened a couple times at the end of the game. So like, yes, give me that drive and old fashioned 3-point play. I don't need to see him shooting that shot necessarily. I don't have a lot of confidence in it.
You know, Rod, so many things have happened since our last podcast here that I kind of forgot. We haven't talked about the Dame Lillard injury yet on the show. I was watching the game. You saw it happen. And it's so funny how all of us are doctors in every way, shape, or form. And it's like, okay, know your role. But literally everyone knows what an Achilles injury looks like just because we've seen it so much. And I think just the depression that set in, that sucks. Rod is so beside himself that he can't even talk.
It's a bummer, right? There's no other way to describe it. It's a bummer. The whole Dame, in Portland was a great thing, right? It was entertainment. We had Dame time. He's literally knocking teams out with half-court shots, and he was the plucky little upstart in Portland. And then it's not so cool. He signs the contract, forces the trade. Everybody knows he wants to go to Miami. He doesn't get to go to Miami. He goes to Milwaukee. It's clear that he doesn't really want to be there, but he's doing his best to make it work, has seismic changes in his personal life. Like, everything in this guy's life blows up basically in the last year and a half playing with Giannis, and now his Achilles blown out at 34 years old, 35. I'm not even entirely sure how old, as a small guy who relied on that explosiveness. Like, we're probably never seeing a great Damian Lillard ever again. And it's sad when you think about it the way I do, right? Dame was a West Coast guy. I never cared anything about Portland, but he provided me a whole bunch of joy, right? And that's ultimately what I watch NBA basketball for, is joy, other than the Celtics and the Pacers at time to time. Like, as long as the Pacers aren't playing the Celtics, don't get me wrong, I pull for that squad. But when they're playing the Celts, I gotta be a Celtics man. But other than that, I watch the NBA for pure entertainment, and Dame Lillard provided a bunch of that, and it's sad to see what he's been the last year and a half.
Chris, with Dame Lillard now being out for the next year plus, he didn't even get to the ground, and people were already talking about Giannis trade scenarios here and there. Can you believe just the quickness that we move on from things? Like, okay, this happened, then this has to happen.
That's the nature of sports, entertainment, and the news cycle of today. I'm sorry, everything's instantaneous, all right? So it's going to be instant reaction no matter what. And especially in a situation like this, a guy that we know has been striving for a championship, striving to get that one elusive thing in his career, right? And has been a class act essentially his entire career, right? Like, no one has anything bad to say about him.
Yeah, a couple people maybe.
Well,
yeah.
you know what like at least.
Yeah, no, you're fine.
Right. So like he has been a good teammate for the most part. He was loyal to Portland for probably longer than he should have been, maybe. So like I feel bad for the dude, and it sucks, especially at his age. Like maybe he comes back, but he's not going to be, like Rod said, he's not going to be the same great Dame.
I like what you said there. Longer than he should have been, right? Because Jimmy, that plays back into the Giannis situation that you're asking about, right? Like, how much does Giannis have to parlay the power that he sort of has, right? Does he sit back? Hey, I already won a championship. I'm cool. People should come to me. I'm going to do it again for Milwaukee. Or does he go, well, I already won one. Like, you guys owe it to me to ship me off somewhere where it's going to be better for me. You know, it's going to be interesting to see how that goes down.
Yeah, because they can't really do anything because they don't have any draft picks. They have Kyle Kuzma. They've got a $200 million payroll, and their team is bad moving forward. I mean, Brook Lopez, Kuzma played 12 minutes. Lopez played 8 minutes. You're looking at Gary Trent, who, by the way, terrific game except for his 2 turnovers that he had late. But
also he signed a 1 year minimum, so you got to bring Trent back next year. He's probably not looking to play for 1 year on a minimum again.
But yeah, he's not going to come back because they don't have the money to sign him now. So they don't even have that. Kevin Porter Jr., nobody wanted him, started playing well. Now he's going to be a free agent, I'm assuming. So you never really know what can happen there. Rod, I have a question for you now. That was a great answer, Chris. Thank you. So this Pistons thing, are we responsible? Like the Father Pete effect? Did we do something good?
I will say this, right? Father Pete said New York ain't nothing, you know what I mean? Whatever, no big deal, New York. And the Pistons certainly play that way, considering the only 2 victories that they have in this series are in the Madison Square Garden. You know what I mean? They've won 2 out of 3 games there and lost both games at home. But what amazes me the most about this series, I think, is the Pistons are just in it, man. Like, they are in it. You look at some of these games that we've seen in the last couple of nights before we've taped here that have ended up being blowout. Hell, Miami got beat by like 56 points, right? They were done early. We've seen other games that were like Golden State got blown out tonight. Like Oklahoma City beat the crap out of Memphis. We've seen so many blowouts. And Detroit has been right with the Knicks always, constantly. Boom. The most they'll let the Knicks get out is like 13, 14 points. And then they cut it right back down, get up by 8 themselves. But we've seen the pressure cooker that is the end, right? Other than a foul call that should have went their way, but we don't want to complain too much about foul calls because there's some that can go either way. I'm just impressed with the Pistons. And that's why last time we were on, I was like, let's not count them out yet. And I think they're going to win game 6. Game 7's up in the air, but I think they're going to win game 6.
How impressed are you with Cade Cunningham, Chris, and the Pistons going into New York and defeating the Knicks? Or is this just a Thibodeau thing and we might have a new coach for the Knicks next year?
We'll give that 15% of this to Thibodeau, maybe, right?
Really? Okay.
But listen, seriously though, you got to be like, this is a kid that has struggled early on with a couple injuries in his career, has solidified himself as a leader of this team, especially last year and even more so this year. I think they got this core through the draft and building up this team, and they, if nothing else, and it does pain me to say this because they have a Purdue alum on their team, even with Jordan Ivey, but like this team believes in themselves, even if the rest of the NBA doesn't. Did I say his name wrong? Good.
You did, Good. But you can play that off with he's Purdue, so I kind of like that. You're fine. It's Jordan Ivey from now on.
Yep.
It's Jaden, but you're good. You're good.
Good.
I love that.
But yeah, like listen, this team believes in themselves, and I don't. Yeah, maybe you should have blown the whistle on Josh Hart there, but like they weren't really calling that game that close. All right, that was a physical game, and
totally agree with you. If you're not calling some of the other fouls in that game, you can't call that one.
Right?
Yep.
If you're not now, if you were calling it in the first quarter, you should be calling it in the fourth. But if you don't call that, and this is the Eastern Conference playoffs, people, this is supposed to be physical. All right, this is what we want to see in the Eastern Conference playoffs.
All right, I've got a couple more questions here. I know we are running a little late, but we'll do the best we can here. What series do you want to see go 7? Because one of these series is going 7. Rod, do you want Pistons, Knicks, Rockets, Warriors, Lakers, Wolves, or Nuggets, Clippers to go 7?
Selfishly, I definitely want to see Pistons Knicks go 7 because that's the team that's going to have to go on and play the Celtics.
It's another week of rest for your Celtics, and
I definitely
one of your. And you know what? I'm going to just bump to the major concern because I think this has a major concern for the Celtics. What do you think the number one concern for the Celtics is right now?
They just got to make sure that they don't get sticky with the ball in their hands. They got to move it. Too much isolation gets the Celtics in trouble. But I bet you're trying to say I should be worried about Drew Holiday. I'm not.
I
feel
think
like
you should be just
if they
to be
really
safe.
needed him to. No,
Yeah.
I think he could have played if they needed him to. They were playing Orlando.
Yeah, that's true. Chris, what series do you want to see go Game 7?
Houston,
Rockets,
Golden State.
Okay, fair enough.
Yep.
Houston, Golden State.
Clippers,
Why is
Nuggets.
that?
Clippers, Nuggets.
Clippers, Nuggets is my pick because that's just insane all around, and we're not going to get to it as much as we should, just because that's what happens with the Clippers and the Nuggets. But Chris, go ahead. Rockets, Warriors. Why do you want to see that so much?
You know I'm a fan. I already went hard on one of their players already. I want to see the Warriors lose, and the only way that happens is by going to a Game 7.
You got playoff Jimmy. He jumped over the basket to get that rebound. That's going to be so hard for the Rockets as young as they are. This was a game that the Warriors didn't need to win, but this
they
next
played
one
like
they're going to.
I was going to say
they got blown out.
Yeah, keep playing like that, Golden State.
And then Chris, what is a major concern for the Thunder for you?
Listen, this is. I don't have much, but they're a young team, all right? Let's be honest. It's a younger team. You get deep into the playoffs. If they run into someone like the Lakers or Denver or the Clippers at some point, those are teams that have some experience that can really, really get under the skin and wear down a team like OKC in a 7-game series.
They played 4 games in 16 days or something like that, man. It's going to be fixing to be even more. I mean, I get it. You try to play for rest, but that's insane. There's a very, very good capability that you're losing a little bit of your win. You're losing a little bit of your effectiveness. You're sitting around a little bit too much if you're only playing 4 games in 20 days. That's not what an NBA player's body is used to.
Well, in their defense, Rod, they were blown out by the Grizzlies and then came back and won the game. But they were blown out, so they did have that. They had to hard.
I'm grasping.
They had to try.
Okay,
they had to try, Rod.
I hate this excuse. I hate this excuse though, because this is on these teams. When you are getting this break, yes, it's great, especially if you have people dealing with injuries that they have time to rest. But you other people need to be having practice. You need to be keeping up with your conditioning. If they're just sitting at home, then that's on them that they're getting rusty.
We're talking about practice.
Well, but see, I mean, I guess practice is kind of tough because it's still not the same thing as playing in the playoff games. And remember, this team hasn't played in a Western Conference Finals. I don't believe they have. So that's going to be pretty tough. Quick things on the Cavs. I think the major concerns for the Cavs are they going to be able to handle the Celtics wings? I mean, that's huge right there for them. I think that's a big concern. And will Mobley
are they going to be able to handle the Pacers, Jimmy? Are they going to be able to handle the Pacers? Come on. I'm telling you, the Pacers got a shot in this series. They really do.
They do. They may run them off the court. They may surely do that. But we're gonna head out on the NBA fast break right now. Hit up the Yeah We Know podcast real quick and get these guys to bed because it is past Chris's bedtime for sure. So really appreciate everyone listening to the fast break. The fastest 15 minutes in the NBA.
NBA playoffs. It's fantastic.
Goodbye, Internet.
Welcome to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the Morgan Knows Podcasting Network. In the ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod. TLC. SmackDown. We have the Street Profits, DIY, and the Motor City Machine Guns. Rod, please tell me you watched it. Please tell me you thought this is tag team wrestling.
Listen to me right now. Everybody out there that are faithful listeners, you two chuckleheads that I do this show with, all right? I want us all to make a solemn vow right now that we remember this random SmackDown match when we get to the Yeah We Knowies, okay? Because you and I know how this is going to work. Other pay-per-views are going to come up. Other big-time main events at pay-per-views are going to come up, and we're going to forget about it because it's going to seem like it was so long ago. But I'm not sure I've seen a match that great since Rhea Charlotte at WrestleMania 39 in LA. All right. Those are the two matches for me that I can recall off the top of my head, just being like, oh my goodness, the things that these people are putting each other through, the story that's being told with the match, the ups and downs. Oh, TLC had all of it on top of crazy stunts with tables breaking, ladders being jumped off of, and chairs being hit on people.
Chris King.
There was.
He didn't like it. He didn't like it. He didn't like it.
This was the greatest match I have seen, and I don't know how long. I can't compare it to another match. There was somebody's leg involved in this match. That
I forgot about that. That was fantastic.
All right. There was somebody's leg who wasn't involved in the match that then got involved into the match. It's the craziest thing
We should
ever.
clarify for those who are just listening to us and not watching wrestling, it was a prosthetic leg. Somebody's not live leg wasn't chopped off. The WWE didn't go that far. A man offered up his prosthetic leg and Montez Ford took it.
It was a TLCPL.
Okay. Well, that's a dad joke, but that's good. No, that was so funny because, it's a plant. Nope, wasn't a plant. Guy just had a leg, gave it to him, he hit him with it. And it was just such a fun match. And hopefully everyone came out unscathed. But speaking about people who were scathed in a match, JD McDonough made his triumphant return. How excited are we to see him back and he's alive?
I'm excited that he's alive, right? Because you could have easily convinced me that dude would have been having to seek serious medical attention after hitting that desk. So congratulations to him for being back, but I hope he knows what he's doing.
All right, Chris, big question for you. Aleister Black, you buying him or not? What do you think?
I'm going to pass right now.
Okay. Even with the awesome entrance?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Chris
sorry.
doesn't like entrances, though. I'll defend Chris here. He always says he doesn't care about entrances. He says,
yeah,
that
I don't know
It's a
people's
terrible take, but
music
he
and
says
stuff and whatnot, but yeah, no.
Okay.
Jimmy, I'll surprise you right now along those same lines. I don't care about Aleister Black, but I think I'm in on Rusev now. I liked that promo that they had him cut. I kind of liked the idea of what his whole deal was. I was like, okay, you're admitting to me some fault. You're admitting to me some, I changed. I have a different thing, right? It makes sense to me as someone who grows older and gains a little bit more wisdom. I was in on Rusev. Like, as a bald ass kicker, let's go.
All right, let's keep going here. Chelsea Green losing the United States Championship. I'm going to ask myself this question. How do you feel about it? I feel that it was too soon. She had it for a long time, but she is so over and will continue to be over because she just plays it great. Now, if you're going to bump her up, which I don't think you are, to a world championship, that's fine. But I think she could have kept it a little while longer, even though, Chris, Zelina Vega is has put in the time.
She's got to get it back right away.
Oh, okay.
Right? If she gets it back right away, she can still be the longest reigning and blah, 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 and still have all those little things that she likes to say, right? And then she can make fun
only
of
two-time.
Yeah.
No, that's funny because did I have it in April? Yes. Do I have it in May? Yes. So okay, I can see that. Yeah. Just keep going with that. Okay.
Otherwise, I hate it. If they don't give it back to her right away, then I hate it.
And then you hated it. Hey, big night for Zelina Vega though because her husband debuted. Aleister Black is her husband. Big night for her. Why not? Rod, I'm going to go to
Zelina, Jim, like you said, just real quick, I'm going to throw in. I was happy to see Zelina win, right? Like, if we talk about we appreciate those that put the work in, and we'd like to see those that put the work in get a couple of bones thrown their way. Congratulations to Zelina Vega.
Rod, how much does how much does Solo hate Jacob Fatu is the question.
That's
in real life, not in the character, in real life.
Yeah, that's a prickly one. I'd imagine that if Solo was given the ever popular truth serum or the other idiom we like to say, where if somebody gives him 5 beers or they have him alone, you know what I mean, the truth may ultimately come out. Because I'd imagine there's a little bit of jealousy there, right? I'd imagine there's a little bit of green-eyed monster envy there. I put in all this work.
The man beat John Cena at WrestleMania, destroyed him.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I put in all this work. I got to beat John Cena, and now I have to kowtow to you. And, so I'd imagine there's some of that there for sure.
Chris, I think that's going to be a bloodbath of a match when it happens.
Yeah, probably. I also like to see who has the larger paycheck, because if Solo has the larger paycheck, that could probably dissuade some of that jealousy, possibly. But other than that, I'd be with you.
You have to remember there is a downside that they both get, right? But then also merchandise comes into that. And I will tell you this, I don't see too many Solo shirts going out there. By the way, shout out to Joe Hendry, our boy, who sold out multiple times on his shirts. I might be getting a hoodie coming at some point.
I had to get one myself.
I spent too stupid much money on those hoodies, but that's okay.
I know. I literally had to go ask Kate. It was
WrestleMania.
If I wouldn't have reacted the way I did to Joe coming out, I don't think they would have let me got it either. But it says WrestleMania. It says say his name. Come on now.
All right, Chris. Randy Orton is the correct opponent for the bad guy John Cena at Backlash.
Okay, sure. We're not going to see a match.
What do you mean we're not going to see a match?
We're just going to see an appearance. He's already told us what's going to happen. He's not going to go out there and fight. He's going to get out of the ring, walk out, get a 10-second count because he's going to have a champion's advantage and not wrestle. He's going to ruin wrestling, Jimmy. He's told us what's going to happen. He doesn't have 27 matches. He has 27 appearances.
Okay, Ron, you and I need to chat here. We're going to have Chris go in the corner for a second, okay? That is both the dumbest thing I've ever heard and also something they might actually do. Listen, what would piss people off more, anything in the world, than his scenario right then and there?
Oh, it's honestly, I was like, I wanted to be at first like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, oh my God, wait a minute.
Me too.
Wait a minute. I don't know if I see that happening in Randy's backyard, St. Louis. I really don't, but I could see that happening a few more times than we would like, right? To keep this Cena as champ going along. Because as we all remember, I famously picked against Cena at WrestleMania. I thought Cody would retain. So I'm off already on the story they're trying to tell with John Cena. I also said, there's no way they're going to let him win 17 as a heel, and he won it as a complete dastardly heel. So don't believe anything I say on Cena, considering I have a John Cena towel behind me.
Chris, I like where you're coming from. We need to figure out, though, how to stop the crowd from rioting if that happens. So who's coming out then, and who's going to get an RKO? Because if this was if it was an actual TV show with no audience, I could easily see that happening. I just really think they might burn the place down if that happens. Can you imagine, Rod? Can you imagine Cena comes out, Orton's there, ding, 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 Cena leaves. And doesn't he just gets out, walks away. Orton standing in the ring like, what? Ref's like, okay, I'm going to count.
That would be insane. It would be a throwback to WrestleMania 1 in a way, right? Because Piper and his boy, they just took off during that match, and the ref was counting them out, and then Hogan had to come over and stop the ref and say, no, bring him back.
And then it culminates in a Hell in a Cell.
Yeah,
wow.
I'm telling you, Chris might be onto something there. But you're right, though, that fans would absolutely riot. I mean, with the way they want to hijack every segment anyway, with the what chance, the what chant has to go.
What chant is the worst thing Stone Cold Steve Austin's ever done.
Well, and you set up a perfect long-term type beef if you get Triple H eventually coming out there and trying to force John Cena's hand. Then you have beef on and off, between the final boss and Paul Levesque. So you got multiple angles there that you can start playing with.
All right, last question of the night, Rod. Excellent job there, Chris, by the way. This is really paying off for someone who doesn't watch wrestling and is brand new.
I'm not one of those professional fans,
No. I've been doing it for 4 years now. Talk to me. How's the new Evolution group, Rollins, Breakker, and Heyman? Did you like how they were presented their first night?
I appreciate any time Sami Zayn is used to further a story. So bringing Sami out to be a guy that cuts an absolutely fabulous promo the way that he did, that helps further along what Seth's agenda is, I liked. But I don't know. The first big move of Heyman and Seth and Breaker is, I really love you, buddy. I don't want to beat you up. I did a movie to SmackDown. I don't know. You know what I mean? It was like, I didn't love it. I must admit, I kind of hoped that they would show their face during that TLC match because I thought it might be mighty cool to elevate one of those 3 tag teams to top bill status and be part of that whole thing. So Becky Lynch, I guess, continues to be a possibility, although that seems a little obvious to me. So listen, I'm in. I'm a Heyman guy now, right? I'm a Braun Breaker guy. I love Seth. I'm basically going to be, to Seth what Chris always is to Drew McIntyre. It doesn't matter what he says or does, how dastardly he becomes, because he's still over with the fans, right? Like they still were popping for him basically like a babyface, even though he was out there trying to do dastardly stuff. So I think that's also going to be interesting to see what Hunter decides to do to tell the story now that seems to be the reaction.
Chris, it has been a very long couple of weeks. A lot of stuff going on. We've got the NFL, we've got the NBA, we've got WWE. How are you feeling? You doing okay?
I'm doing well, and it's funny that you left something out there. I'm going to go off topic just a little bit because we do have a member of this trio that is kind of anti this sport recently. But I do want to say, go Cubbies. I'm going to go watch them play Cincinnati Memorial Day weekend. We're going to go to Cincinnati, watch the Cubs play the Reds.
We're wonderful. That'll be a very hot Memorial Day weekend in the wonderful city of Cincinnati. And with that, you have been listening to the How We Know Okay,
Jimmy, if you would allow me, I have something wrestling related that only fits here. Okay. Final boss. Chris brought him up there. Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, the Tooth Fairy, the star of Jungle Cruise, the star of Black Adam, however you want to refer to him. Can we not with the Smashing Machine, my guy? Can we absolutely not? I'll tell you what I don't want to see The Rock doing. Trying to win an Oscar. Sorry, no. Okay? I get that this movie is about an absolutely jacked UFC fighter, and so a guy who's a former professional wrestler who likes to rub himself down in cocoa butter and be absolutely jacked on screen makes sense for the part. But no, okay? Can you please take a page out of the playbook of the greats, all right? I'm talking Arnold. I'm talking Sylvester. I'm talking Bruce Willis. I'm talking Will Smith. I'm talking Tom Cruise. And can you please just slyly look at the camera, be cool, and do cool shit? I have zero interest in you winning an Oscar, and every self-respecting wrestling fan should stop seeing your movies because you decided to piss all over every single one of us and not show up for WrestleMania after you stuck your nose in it. So get the hell out of here with your Smashing Machine, Rock.
And with that, you've been listening to the Yeah We Know podcast, part of the More You Knows Podcast Network. In the Ring with Jimmy, Chris, and Rod.
Goodbye, Net. Yeah.